guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome to a late night movie review. Tonight we're looking at a 2025 horror film by Osgood Perkins called Keeper. This came out in the cinema around about sort of October, November last year. Didn't get a chance to see it unfortunately, but it's finally got a Blu-ray release here, and so I managed to catch up with it and review it today. So let's have a little look at the release. So here we are, guys. Here is the physical release of Keeper from the director of Longlegs. This is on the A24 label, I believe. I could be wrong. Filmed by Black Bear. Yeah, this has come out in the cinema last year. I wanted to see it, but unfortunately I didn't. So I had to wait for the release, and it came out, I think, last week. It might have even been earlier this week. Just have a look at the release. It's going to be a standard. Because it's not from a boutique label. I'm surprised that Second Sight never picked this up, or Mumbai, something like that, but it is what it is. So here's the disc inside. It's even on a boring plain white disc, which is a bit crap, but there we go. And it does have their bit of what the film's about. It doesn't look like there's much going to be in there on bonus features, but we will have a look at that in a minute. So that is the physical release of Keeper. Absolutely bog standard. I didn't think it would be anything else, to be honest with you, but it's what it is really. But is there any special features? So here we are, guys, on the main menu for Keeper. The bonus features we have on here is, it says commentary with the Osgood Perkins, and that looks like that is it. So that is the special features on Keeper. So that's completely disappointing. Absolutely zero special features, not even a sort of making of or anything like that. Not a thing, not even a commentary, I don't think. But let's get to the story. So this is a 2025, I want to say sort of folk horror, because it does have folk horror elements to it. Based in America, we see a couple, Malcolm and Liz. Liz is played by Titania Maslany, and Malcolm is played by Rusif Sutherland. And they've been going out with each other for a year, but there's something odd about them. As soon as you see the film start, it just doesn't sit right, either of them. There just seems to be something a bit weird going on, and you think, yeah, there's just something awkwardness going on. But anyway, they're going away for weekends. They're going to like a countryside sort of like cabin that he owns, and they're going there for like, I don't know, maybe to just sort of like get a bit closer. And so they arrive there. She's told her friends about the guy, and you know, it's been a long time and all this sort of thing, and she seems like someone doesn't like to commit, and he looks somebody who's, I don't know, willing to commit. But they go away, and then when they arrive, there's a package waiting on the table of a cake, and he makes her have some. It's a chocolate cake. She doesn't eat chocolate, she says, but anyway, he makes her have some, and she eats it. And then after them, she sort of starts having these really bizarre visions of things like women suffering and stuff like this, and visions of like this sort of like almost like a witch woman in the woods. This cabin is right in the middle of this beautiful woodland area, and she has all these crazy visions that keep visiting her and haunting her. And we see these visions, and some of them are quite disturbing and very sort of freaky. And even one night, she goes down and eats the rest of the cake. This cake is almost it's been drugged, and and this sort of weird thing going on. And then we meet Darren and Minka. Darren is Malcolm's brother, and he's played by Burkett Thurston, I want to say, and Minka's played by Eldon Wise. And she's supposed to be a model, and he's her brother. Anyway, we see them for one little bit of the film, and then we don't. We see a bit later in the film, Minka's out in the woods, and she gets sort of killed by something or creature in the woods, and we don't see her again. Darren comes back to the house when Malcolm's away. Malcolm's a doctor, and he's gone back into town to have a look at something and left Liz on her own as she keeps having these visions. And Darren keeps coming up and starts questioning her about this chocolate cake, and then he just sort of goes from the scene. And she locks herself in the bathroom, and she's just seeing all this weird stuff, and she wants to go. But then Malcolm comes back, and then the story sort of unfolds. And I'm not going to tell you anymore because I don't want to spoil it. All I'm going to tell you is Darren and Malcolm are 200 years old. So the characters are pretty cool. They played the role very convincing. I feel for Tatina, Liz, the character Liz. She, because she's in this relationship for a year and she's committed to it, and and you can see this little bit of uncomfortableness between them both. Even one bit in the car when they're holding hands, he moves his hand away. She feels a bit put out by it. It just seems all a bit wrong. And all these visions that she's having are not actually freaking her out. She seems to be a little bit drawn to them. And so her character plays it out so well that you think, okay, this is going to take a twist. Malcolm comes across as like a little bit of a wet lettuce, and Darren just comes across as an arsehole, and Minka doesn't really have much of a part in it. But there we go. But they are the characters. Let's get to my final verdict. So this was amazing. This was absolutely incredible. I'm scoring it a 10 out of 10. I absolutely loved it. It's right up my street. It was just so creepy and just so cool. What can I compare it to? If you do like witchcraft films, if you do like folk horror, if you like films like Longlegs, I would say, if you like films like Heretic, if you like films like that Irish film called Baghead, if you like films like that, you will probably really enjoy Keeper. It's not what I thought it was going to be, because the trailer sort of played out when we saw it in the cinema like it was two sides of a story. You saw a bit of a trailer as Malcolm, and you saw a bit of a trailer as Liz, and you thought, okay, this looks really, really different. And it's even different to that when I watched it, and I was surprisingly shocked about how awesome and brilliant it was. Incredible film. Well scripted, well acted. The pluses of the edition, it looks absolutely gorgeous because of the setting. It just looks stunning, and the photography is amazing. Like I said, it's made by Osmond Perkins, who I believe is the son of Anthony Perkins from Psycho, and it's really, really cool. Really wonderful film. The negative, it's absolutely shit when it comes to special features. Not a thing. But there we go. But apart from that, it's an amazing film. Massive shout out to my lad. See you soon, guys.